Today is July 29th, 2014. I'm in Auburn, Indiana. This is the Duesenberg Automobile Museum. This is a 1937 Cord. Here's a side shot of the 1937 Cord, which was supercharged. And here is a 1936 convertible, four-door convertible. It's also supercharged. This is 1936 Auburn, A-U-B-U-R-N. Here's a side shot of the 36 Auburn, where you can plainly see the four doors, two on each side. This is a 1931 Duesenberg. It has a modified Lycoming straight 8-cylinder engine. Lycoming at one time made car engines, and they also made aircraft engines. Here we have another four-door convertible. It's a 1926 Duesenberg. Here's a 1933 Auburn convertible. Another four-door convertible. Here is a cutaway of a Lycoming marine engine, displayed here in the museum in 1930. The engine was built in Williamsport, Pennsylvania by the Lycoming Manufacturing Company. Lycoming produced aircraft, automotive, commercial vehicle, and marine and industrial power plants. Here's a good side view of the cutaway showing the valve mechanism, the intake and the carburetor. Here's the back side of the engine. This is the right side of the engine showing the starter and the cylinders. Here we have a 1932 four-door convertible Duesenberg. There's the interior of the car. You can see how spacious this car is. Here we have a 1930 Cord two-door convertible. Here we have a 1936 Auburn two-door convertible with a rumble seat. This 1930 Cord had a front-wheel drive, and the brakes are interior. They're not on the wheels. They're in that center section. You can see how massive the front wheel linkage for steering. And there's Zerk fittings that grease the bearings on each wheel. Now this is the interior of the car, 1930. And this had dual instrumentation. And it had a knob in the center, and that's how you shifted the transmission. There's a device in the dash that you push, and it would release the back side of the car for the rumble seat, and it was spring-loaded open. This is a 1937 Cord. Two-door. And here we have a 1936 Cord V8 engine. Flathead V8. Looking at the generator that's mounted right on the top. Carburetor is right next to it. There's the distributor, fuel pump, cooling fan. And there's the linkage to drive the wheels. Here's the right side of the car. And there's the elaborate dash with all the instruments. And here's a shot of the other end of the museum. And there's the stairs that go upstairs, right there. This is a 1933 Auburn. This is the interior of the panel. It even had an RPM, up to 4,000 RPMs for the engine. Vacuum windshield wipers. Shift on the floor. Had a rumble seat. And it was called a cabriolet, which featured fold-down tops. Here is a 1933 Auburn four-door sedan, spacious back seat. There's a luggage carrying platform, and the front and rear bumpers are the same. So you can replace the front with the rear or the rear with the front. This is a 1934 Auburn with California plates. This is a Phaeton. It's powered by a 209.9 cubic inch Lycoming inline 6-cylinder engine. Four-door. Notice the hinges on this car are actually on the outside. It's got the front doors that open in the front, called suicide doors. Back end spare tire. And a little window in the back of the top. We see vacuum powered windshield wipers, shift on the floor, glove box with a clock, and the instrument panel. Here's a 1925 Auburn, all original. They haven't done a thing to it. The paint is the way it left the factory. This is a 1936 Cord, and it has a 37 supercharger installed. The cost new was $2,145. There was only 130 such models were produced for 1936. You notice again the door opens from the front. You notice the shift has a little ring and a little lever off of the steering wheel. A locked glove box. On each side. Nice interior. This is a 1932 Duesenberg.
Yeah. Beautiful cars.
The wire mesh, the coolie engine was open. And this door opens like modern cars, from the back forward. Quite a long car. 1936 Auburn convertible. Supercharged. We're looking at a device that pops out of the car right behind the hinges that tells you you're taking a right or a left-hand turn on either side of the car. Rumble seat and spare tire. This was for overseas export. Steering wheel's on the right-hand side. Here we have a 1932 Cord. Luxury limousine. It has a partition from the front seat to the rear seat that you can open and close. It's glass, so the passengers in the rear could have their privacy. Has a jump seat in front of the regular seat in the back. Here's a 1936 Auburn hearse. So you had the last ride in an Auburn in this vehicle. Here's a 1936 Cord, 4-door, with a split windshield, front-wheel drive. Here's a 1936 Cord, 4-door. Front headlights are hidden in the fenders. And the front bumper and the rear bumper are interchangeable. Notice the little backup lights under the bumper. And they have a locking gas cap. This is a 1935 Auburn. This is the right side. It was very unique. The horns were on the outside of the front of the car. This is a 1932 Auburn four-door sedan. Again, the front door opens from the front to the rear. Here's a 1976 Lincoln. Here's a 1949 Buick with the classic 3 holes in the fender. There's a 1937 Lincoln. This car had a special engine. This engine was 267 cubic inch displacement, and it was a V12. And it produced 110 horsepower. Total production of the 1937 Zephyr coupes was 5,199. Vehicle weighs 3,214 pounds. 1953 Corvette convertible. This is a 1956 Ford Thunderbird. This is a 2002 Ford Thunderbird. This car is brand new. Total vehicle price $39,265 and no cents. Here's a 1999 Plymouth Prowler. It's powered by a 3.5 liter V6 engine, developing 253 horses. It's sold for $40,000. What was unique about this car was aluminum was used in the frame and body components, and it makes up roughly 1/3 of its 2,883 pounds. This is the view from the stairs leading to the second floor of the museum entrance. And this is a view from the other side of the rest of the room. As you walk into the entrance to the second floor, this is what greets you. A 1931 Cord. Here's the right side of the room. The wooden mock-up. This is a 1929 Auburn cabin speedster. This wooden frame is the substructure for the body of the cabin speedster. Most automobile bodies through the 1930s had structural wood in their construction. There's the mechanism for the windows, the gears that would lower and raise the window. Here's the front of the wooden structure showing the firewall. Here's a 1929 Auburn with unique headlights. This car had hydraulic brakes, which was pretty good for the time. This car also had an altimeter on the right-hand side. And vacuum windshield wipers. And a classy dashboard. The shift and the brake was on the floor. This is a 1930 Cadillac V8 display chassis. Notice the V8 symbol in the front and the large radiator and headlights. Here's the rear of the car, showing the gas tank, rear wheel and differential, drive shaft, the linkage for the clutch and the brake, the shifting mechanism and the emergency brake. And here is the engine, a V8 engine. The distributor, the fan and the fan belt. The hoses leading off of the radiator. This is a 1931 Cord, two-door convertible, and the top is hidden. We have a suicide door that opens from the front, aerodynamic hinges, here we have the shift lever in the dash. The gauges in this roll up and down. Nice wooden panel on the door. Nice leather interior. Beautiful wire wheels. What a different looking back of a car. Gas cap filler. We're looking at a 1935 Auburn, supercharged. The suicide door. The emblem. This is the 1932 Auburn, powered by a 269 cubic inch displacement Lycoming inline 8-cylinder engine, which produces 98 horsepower. This Auburn has louvered intake for the radiator. You can regulate the incoming air. This Auburn had hydraulic brakes, suicide door, again, the front and rear bumper are the same part. Taillight lenses have "stop" written on them. This is what they call a boat tail. This is a 1937 Cord. Has a Lycoming 288.6 cubic inch V8, which produced 170 horsepower. The purchase price at the time was $2,960. Here's a side view. Pretty good spacious back seat. This is a 1930 Ruxton, R-U-X-T-O-N. It's a very rare classic front-wheel drive vehicle. You can see the front-wheel drive connection. Had hydraulic brakes, unique headlights. Shift on the dash. Unique design on the hubcap. Had a rumble seat and a trunk. This is with the gas filler. This is a 1948 Rolls-Royce. It has what they call an F head inline six-cylinder engine that produces 126 horsepower. This car was made for England with the steering wheel on the right-hand side. Very spacious interior. Gas filler door. It still has a GB for Great Britain. Very little taillights. This is a 1929 Stearns Knight car. It has what they call a Knight sleeve valve engine. It's a six-cylinder engine, and it produces 70 horsepower. It's a two-door vehicle, wooden spoke wheels, the classic running board. Looking at the trunk, pretty good space. Shift on the floor. And there's a Knight emblem on the top of the radiator. This is a 1941 Graham. This is powered by a 124 horsepower inline six-cylinder engine. Sold new for $1,250 in 1941. And it weighs 2,965 pounds. And this car would go over 100 miles per hour. It's a four-door, has a suicide door. Steering wheel with a horn ring. This is a 1939 Hupmobile. Was priced at $1,175 when it was new. The engine produced 101 horsepower, had 245.3 cubic inch, 6-cylinder engine. This was the Skylark model. Again, with a suicide door, which opened from the front. This also has a horn ring. Shift on the column. Evidently, this is one of one. This is a 1936 Pierce Arrow. A little hood ornament. Spare tire in the fender. 4-door sedan. Two trunk lashes. (1938) Packard. This is a 1948 Lincoln. It has a V12 engine, 305 cubic inch displacement, 130 horsepower. It has a push-button latch on the door. Large wheel fender skirts. Fuel filler door. Air tire on the rear. The trunk opening on the top with another push button release. Also has a steering wheel ring to toot the horn and a column mounted shift lever. This is a 1929 Lincoln. When this car was new, it cost $7,200. The front was a convertible, and the back was for the passengers. It also had a partition between the back and the front. This is a Model J Duesenberg engine. This engine produced 265 horsepower. Later, the supercharged version was offered, and that boosted it to 320 horsepower. Gasoline fed. We're looking at the exhaust manifold, the distributor, dual coils, Delco Ramey starter, the oil filter, fan and radiator. Duesenberg straight 8. We're now looking at the intake manifold, air cleaner, carburetor, Stromberg, fuel filter, shaft-driven generator, clutch and brake pedal. There's a plaque for the firing order. Here's the shifting lever and the emergency brake. Here's the back side and transmission. This is a Duesenberg V16 Model H aircraft engine. The displacement is 3,393 cubic inches, and the rated horsepower is 800 horsepower at 1,800 RPM. Carburation, there was 4 carburetors were specified for this engine. Notice, for safety reasons, they had 2 spark plugs in each cylinder. And this is the left-hand side of the engine. Here is a King Bugatti, designed but Duesenberg built. The 16-cylinder, rated horsepower 410 horsepower at 2,000 RPM. The lubrication on this engine was high pressure, and they had 4 DM updraft carburetors. This is an Auburn V12 for the model year 1932. 12-cylinder. It developed 160 horsepower at 3,400 RPM. The downdraft carburetor served each bank of the cylinders. We're looking at the distributor, the fan, cooling fan. Fuel pump, oil filter, this is a 1930 Cord L29 chassis. It has a straight 8 engine, (125 horsepower at 3,300 RPM. Very heavy frame. Oh, there's a fuel tank. That's the emergency brake and the shift lever. This is a front-wheel drive vehicle. The linkage, distributor, here's the gearbox for the front-wheel drive. Very, very heavy duty. And the brake for this vehicle is right in the front housing. We're looking at the lubrication point for the front wheel bearings. Massive springs. This is a 1935 Auburn 851 supercharger. You can see the air-cooled cylinder compressor that pumps high-pressure air into the induction system. We're looking at the carburetor and the air cleaner. The unit was driven off of the engine. This is a 1937 Cord 812 supercharged engine and drive line. The engine was 289 cubic inches, the V8 type. Here we have the left side of the engine. That is a fuel pump and filter. The starter, distributor, induction system and carburetor, air filter, generator, distributor, cooling fan. This was installed in a front wheel drive car. There's a Zerk fitting to lubricate the front shafts as they came out to drive the wheels. This is a 1936 Cord 810 V8 engine. We're looking at the fuel pump and the filter housing, intake system, carburetor and air cleaner, cooling fan for the radiator, looking at the left side of the engine, these are wooden Auburn automobile fender body bucks used in shaping of the fenders. These are the original that they used. They would put the sheet metal around these molds and with an air hammer they would form the fender. These are clay models that they made prior to making the car. So they could take accurate measurements before they produced the car. This is 1911 Auburn. The weight of this car is 2,700 pounds. The price when it was new was $1,750.
That's a pretty one, isn't it?
This is a 1932 Studebaker convertible. The original price for this car was $1,855. It's powered by a 122 horsepower inline 8-cylinder engine. Original price $1,855. This is a 1963 Avanti Sports Coupe made by Studebaker. The price of this car was $5,291. Had a supercharged V8 engine producing 290 horsepower. Fuel filler door, antenna, this is a Crosley engine. Four-cylinder. Which went into this car. The engine developed 25 to 28 horsepower. This was produced from 46 to 49. This is a 1924 Marmon convertible, four-door sedan. This car was priced at $3,295. It's a six-cylinder inline engine which produced 84 horsepower. And in bad weather, you could put up the canvas top and the sides also. Wooden spoke wheels. Spare tire mounted on the side. This is a 1909 Auburn. Quite a bit of wood up front. This was powered by two-cylinder engine. And later on in 1909, they produced a larger engine, the four-cylinder. Line was built on a larger chassis. Price of this car when new was $1,250. There's a bulb that they squeeze for the horn. Tires were made by Gehrig, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Today is the 30th of July, 2014. We're in the Studebaker National Museum. And we're looking at a replica of the assembly line of Studebaker. They had a 8-cylinder, straight 8. This is the front end of the car. This is a 1937 President chassis and body. Fuel tank fuller. We're looking at the left side of the engine. Generator. The starter. The clutch and the brake pedal. And the shift knob on top of the transmission. The shift was on the floor. We're looking at the distributor and the air cleaner. Front end of the engine, fan. Shock absorber. Steering box. And that long shaft went into the car where the steering wheel was attached. Here's the entrance of years ago. Studebaker made carriages that were drawn by horses.
Intuitively obvious. I should have just said that. God damn it, I'm slow on that one. I'm sorry.
No, you could have really blown me away. I would have not been slow.
We're looking at a 1950 Studebaker convertible, two-door convertible, which had the bullet nose, which was very unique for its time.
Take the elevator up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at the interior, the shift was on the column and it had a horn ring on the steering wheel. And it was pretty spacious for a convertible in the back. Here's the back side. Pretty good size taillights. We're looking at a 1960 16 Roadster. Unique footrest. Looks like pretty comfortable seats. Shift on the floor and emergency brake. This is a 1934 President, 4-door. And again, look closely and you'll see suicide door opens from the front. We're looking at a 1925 Big 6 duplex Phaeton. We're looking at a 1904 Studebaker Model C. There's the old rubber bulb that you squeeze for the horn. Wooden spoke wheels. We're looking at a 1933 Speedway President. This is a 1932 President convertible coupe. This is a 1932 Studebaker President St. Regis Brougham. Two-door. Trunk and a gas filler. This is a 1927 four-door Commander. This car holds transcontinental record. This is a 1935 Commander Land Cruiser. Four-door sedan. This is a 1930 Studebaker FE 25137 engine. It's a straight 8. Looking at the generator. Starter. Transmission and the shift for the transmission. The distributor is mounted on the top. We're looking at a 1928 Commander Roadster. This is a 1927 Erskine. The engine was a 6-cylinder inline, 146 cubic inches, which produced 40 horsepower. Price when new, $975. This is a 1924 Light 6. 6-cylinder inline engine, 270 cubic inches, produced 40 horsepower. This is a 1931 Studebaker 6 Roadster. It's a 2-door convertible, 6-cylinder engine, 205 cubic inches, 70 horsepower. Price when new, $795. We're looking at a 1912 Flanders 20. Wooden spoke wheels, lanterns on the side. We're looking at a 1922 Studebaker Big 6 child's hearse. Studebaker also made sleighs. This is a 1905 Studebaker sleigh. This is a 1907 electric runabout. 2 passengers, power, 40-volt Westinghouse motor. Price when new, $1,150. This runabout featured a 40-volt motor powered by 3 batteries located under the seat. Wooden spokes. This is a 1958 Packard Hawk. The Packard Hawk began life as a special project for Curtiss Wright executive Roy Hurley. It featured the same drivetrain as a Studebaker's Golden Hawk, along with a leather interior and a fiberglass hood and grill housing. It had a V8 engine, 289 cubic inch supercharged. This car had 275 horses, and price when new was $3,995. Dual exhaust. Here's an upper level shot of the car that is depicted as being on the assembly line. We're looking at a 1929 Pierce Arrow Model 133 limousine. It has an 8-cylinder inline, 366 cubic inches, 125 horsepower. Priced when new, $3,350. This is a 1935 President convertible sedan. The engine is an inline 8-cylinder, 250 cubic inches, 110 horsepower. Price when new, $995. It's a 4-door convertible. The windshield could be cranked out to get more air in the car as you're going down the road. Suicide doors open from the front to the rear. The hinges are external. Fuel filler cap. Very small tail lights. A small rear view mirror window. This is a 1955 Packard Caribbean convertible, 2-door. Half a horn ring on a steering wheel, shift lever on the column, full curved windshield.
This was the V8. What's that? Yeah.
The engine in this car is a V8, 352 cubic inch, and 275 horsepower. Price when new, $5,932. This is a 1951 Commander from the Muppet movie.
Get a chance. YouTube has the Muppet video.
There we see one of the Muppets waving to us. And here's one riding in the trunk. We're looking at a 1934 Bendix. Four-door sedan. It was powered by a six-cylinder inline engine, 170 cubic inches, 86 horsepower. Price when new, $84,000. This is actually the construction cost. This is a 1966 Cruiser. The engine was a V8, 283 cubic inch, 195 horsepower. Price when new, $2,405. This is the last Studebaker that was made. This is a 1964 Daytona. The engine is a V8, 289 cubic inch, 240 horsepower. Price when new, $2,635.83. This car had a 4-speed transmission with a shift lever on the floor. This is a 1962 Scepter prototype. They only built 3 of them. And the Italian firm Sabona Bassamo built each of the Stevens 3 prototypes. This is a 1961 Hawk. Has a V8 engine, 289 cubic inches, 225 horsepower. Price when new, $2,650. This had the shift on the floor. This is a 1947 Champion Deluxe station wagon. It had a 6-cylinder inline engine, 170 cubic inches, and 80 horsepower. It was Studebaker's Woody wagon. This is a 1949 Champion Regal Deluxe Studebaker. It's powered by a 6-cylinder engine, 169 cubic inch, 80 horsepower. Price when new, $1,762. This is a 1950 Commander Starlight Coupe. Had a 6-cylinder inline, 245 cubic inch, 102 horsepower. Price when new, $2,018. This is a 1953 Champion Starliner hardtop, 6-cylinder engine, 169 cubic inch, 90 horsepower. Price when new, $2,116. This is a 1952 Commander Starlight. Had a V8 engine, 232 cubic inch, 120 horsepower, $2,448 when new. Half a ring for steering. Automatic selector. Automatic transmission. Spotlight. This had a feature that on the floor, in order to check the transmission fluid, there was a cap, and you checked it when the engine was running. Here we're looking at a cutaway with a 1961 six-cylinder engine. You can see the distributor in the center, generator, starter, the valves under a clear cover, air cleaner on top, transmission, and the attach point for the drive shaft. Looking at the air cleaner, carburetor, fuel pump. Transmission. This is a 1956 Packard Predictor. The engine was a V8, 374 cubic inch, 290 horsepower. This is the right side of the Predictor. Very unique rear end. This is a 1963 Avanti. This is the engine compartment. This has 411 horsepower.
305 cubic inch, so you're getting more horsepower. 411, 305, 304 inches.
The carburetor is completely enclosed, and the supercharger is on the right side, which is pumping high pressure air into the carburetor for the additional boost of the supercharger. This is a 1957 Golden Hawk 400. It was a V8 engine, 289 cubic inches, 275 horse. Price when new, $4,208.
I'm surprised they don't have a 56 here with the Packard engine.
Car had dual exhaust. The top view of the assembly process, putting the body on the frame. This is in the basement of the museum. Antique vehicles and military vehicles.